All right, welcome back to Anime Savants, everyone. This week, I am Shell Tucker.
Oh, damn. This week I am Son Laku.
Oh,
My man.
and let's just go ahead and let's just hop into it because we got a lot. Because it's like last time we were like at the beginning of the season, this time we're like that midway mark. So let's go straight into Undead Unluck. Let's just do it, since that's what we were kind of just like talking about anyways, off screen. What are your thoughts?
It's
Where you
really
at?
good. It's really good. I'm on record going back to sort of its launch in Shonen Jump as
Mm-hmm.
like when I read it, I was like, okay, there's some interesting components to the story. Not sure how people are going to take the fan service. Not really sure how to take the tone. Only really got a few chapters in, and then I said, best of luck to you. And then it survived that dark winter a couple of years ago where I think 16 or 17 series got canceled. And I said to myself, well, if it's holding on, clearly there's something good there, but I didn't go back and dig in. Now we're about 6 episodes deep in the season, and I can confidently say that like this is like I'm not gonna go so far as say peak shonen, but this is exactly
Yeah.
what you would expect from a nice, solid shonen series. It's got a lot of comedy, it's got a lot of heart to it. The production on the anime
Is
goes from
insane.
good to great on a regular basis, and it does enough in moments that it like, again, I'm not a manga reader, so I don't know
Mm-hmm.
ahead of time like what is the crescendo of a story. Is it coming, to know when
Yeah.
the budget should get turned on. But man, if you'd asked me, especially the last like 2 to 3 episodes,
Yes.
were they
Gina.
exactly, were they putting their A game into this series? I would say 100%.
That Gina
100%.
episode was beautiful. Like it was
Yeah.
beautiful. Just from the sound design, the aesthetic, the direction of it, the pacing, and then that like crazy shit at the end where they were fighting on the water thing. And he was just like, I just have to say, David production, like I think they've taken with a lot of stuff that they used in Fire Force and they've perfected those things, but they also are experimenting
A
a
lot of
lot
digital
more.
effects, a lot of digital
Yeah.
effects, and good ones. When
Yeah.
when uh when Gina comes, like she raises the lake, and then
Yeah.
then does the stairs, see the water drip down the stairs,
Yeah.
and all that, like that's great. The kind of finale to that fight with all like the laser beams, and then the little hole that he had to get his like arm through, and the blood
Yes.
effects and everything about it. I think, especially the when dudes be getting like wasted, like when he put that robot dude blew his brains out. I was like,
And
all
I
right,
honestly was like, wait a second, are they really dead? Like, I thought they were going to be a main supporting cast person.
nope,
Nah,
dead,
he's
dead.
dead. And the other dude is just like, oh, shit, he dead. That's,
Yeah,
oh, whatever. All right. There's an extra seat open now. I would
and
say my favorite part so far is the Union entrance. Is like them, not just the scene of them falling down, but just that
with like the cracking of the sky, and
yeah,
then
the cracking of the side, grabbing them, him coming in, immediately attacking everybody, and you getting like short glimpses of people's powers in that like one shot, and then they sit at the table and they just do world building, and I loved that. I loved that whole episode. That was so
right,
good
I
to
want to know how the power system works after a couple of episodes. The idea of like negation as the underlying concept behind all of the sort of overwhelming powers that we see
me.
introduced over the first few episodes. It's interesting, the concept of having to kind of spend the fight as the audience along with our main characters figuring out what exactly these adversaries are capable of doing, and what sort of unique ways in which they negate things, and what does that mean. It's cool. I also, I mean, I don't know if I'm down one episode, so maybe there's more explanation in episode 6 than in
Mm-hmm.
5. But the thing I really enjoy is kind of not knowing what the scaling really is, not knowing like how to know who's stronger than somebody else. It gave me, at a very light level, kind of Hunter vibes,
Yeah.
just in terms of not anything that they're actually doing with the story or the abilities, but just like not the idea of not knowing.
Yeah.
That
So
I like that.
they do more like fleshing out of what is an UMA, and what's a
Yeah,
negator in
yeah,
episode 6. And they also explain how you have to approach them differently because their powers and the rules behind their powers operate differently.
Cool.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
was part of episode 6.
So all of that combined with the strong production and the ability to get some like genuine emotion like through the show, not, not just with like Gina and her backstory and ending, but also I think our main cast has a lot going for them emotionally.
Yeah.
Wherein like both of our main characters are very earnest people, and it comes through in their interactions. It comes through in the way they interact with the broader cast, the rest of the world. Like it's always a good thing when your main characters are both like emotionally accessible to the audience. Like they're not complicated. I wouldn't say that it's like, we'll talk about some other shows later that are a little more layered as far as mature emotional development of a character. But from a shonen point of view, having people that kind of wear their emotions on their sleeves lets the audience very quickly snap in and connect with them. And then as they go through stuff, you're like, oh yeah, I buy that. Like again, zombie sort of like having that moment with Gina at the end, it felt legitimate.
Yeah.
It really did feel legit. And we didn't actually learn a ton about either one of them. There was maybe like 5 to 10 minutes of the first backstory of her capturing zombie as like
yeah.
much younger. And then fast forward how many years was it? Was it 30 years or 50 years or
yeah, I think it was 50 years. Yeah.
But you get that the fast forward. And I like the fact that, and I'll say this about other stuff too, you don't need to humiliate your villains in order to beat them and prove that whatever they believed in are wrong. And that, because the show doesn't really do that, it meant that like that moment at the end where Andy's like holding her and they don't show her without the makeup, because we've been conditioned that character is very genuine about like not wanting themselves to be seen in the worst way. This is an anime. It's like it's a show, or you can say a TV show. Producers can do whatever they want. The mangaka can do whatever they want, but choosing not to do that kind of preserve some dignity for that character when they die. And in that episode, I was like, well, that's actually surprisingly sensitive to the emotional wavelength that they were going for in that scene, to just not show the face. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I like stuff like that. It's little, but it's appreciated. So I really enjoy that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. What else are you watching? Actually, since we're on shonen, what are your thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen? Because
I mean,
I saw that nigga, first of all, still behind, but it's at this point, I'm getting spoiled no matter what. Like niggas are posting. So I saw clips. I did not watch all of it, but I saw niggas basically being like, Jujutsu Kaisen had its episode 19 of Demon Slayer, where like Sukuna was like mushing Jogo, like absolutely destroying that nigga. I saw clips of it and I was like, even though I am spoiled, I am still not gonna watch it. I'm gonna wait till I get to that point.
Okay.
I'm gonna wait. But what are your thoughts? Like, what are your thoughts?
This season is kind of like a masterclass. Like if you're a shonen believer, I'm not talking about a fan. I'm talking about somebody who, when you go look at like whatever anime is out, your first hits are the big shonen series of the season. I don't know how you could be disappointed with what they're doing. I mean, there was like minor complaints, I think, in episode in a couple of, well, one episode in particular where it was very clear that the production was behind, and so there were some shots that people didn't like or felt that they were not up to the same quality as the rest of the season. But that goes to, but when you go look at it, you're like, oh, but it's still good. So that kind of shows you the level that they've been hitting week after week after week after week after week. I think it's fantastic. I mean, I don't want to go too deep into either spoilers or maybe like overly recapping every little event. But you gotta think, like, over the course of this second season, there have been so many characters that have gotten glory shots or glory sort of moments that even if they're not around anymore, or even if the story moves in a direction where you never see them again, you can't be mad. I mean, even the reintroduction of Nanami had the internet going like out of its mind.
Yes.
Yes,
niggas was thirsting.
like Toji just like coming back in
The
the way that he
fish,
came
the
back.
tongue.
Dagon, yeah, the Dagon fight and all that shit. I mean, now we're getting Chozo and Yuji. Most recently, the Sakura taking over the that particular moment of the destruction that's caused as a result of that event is one of the most important moments in the series for a really
Oh,
long time because of how many different storylines or subplots that it affects, and also it's a catalyst for a tremendous change in Yuji's character that persists literally all the way to the end of the the story.
holy shit. Okay.
And the fact that they did it justice, like that, those are the things that as a fan and as a supporter you want to see. That's kind of my reverse point about Undead Unluck. I didn't read it, so I don't have this idea of like, oh well, this will only be a good season if they do this scene correctly. I don't know that, so I get to watch it with fresh eyes. But as someone who did read and is caught up with Jujutsu Kaisen, there are absolutely moments where it's like, you got to get this right. If you get
Yeah.
this right, we are beyond happy. And I think that they've nailed it in every single time they had to do it. The Mecha Maru Maito fight was like better than what was in the manga. Same beats, but more stuff in between.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and so on. So I think they've done a fantastic job. In a funny way, I think that we just accept that it's great now. Whereas a lot of the buzz goes to things that people have been waiting on, like the Attack on Titan final, like that
Yeah.
sort of thing gets a lot of like instant. I know,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that sort of thing gets sort of like instant reaction, so it kind of overshadows what's happening. But I think if all things considered, if you're watching one thing this season and you are a shonen person, it's got to be Jujutsu Kaisen kind of
Even though
first, and
there's a
then
lot of
everything
good
else.
shit shown and wise.
There's a lot of good stuff. I don't want to
Yeah.
undersell that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be Jujutsu Kaisen first.
So then I guess we're gonna scoot on over. I guess we're doing like shonen wrap up at the beginning then.
I guess so.
Shangri-La Frontier.
Artemis says hello. Wants to know the
Oh.
show. All right, don't talk into the microphone. Get out of here.
Shangri-La Frontier.
What a sickening series this is. Oh my god.
This shit is first of all, production is good. Like I'm shocked at basically every fucking episode we're getting good shit. Like we're getting good shit, and it's just fun. It's a fun fucking watch. At least for me, I'm having so much fun watching the show. But I think the funnest part for me is learning what MMO and gaming aspects matter in this world. How do the skills evolve? Is it through experience, or is it through like actually using the skill more and more? Like what's MP? What are the classes? Can you make your own class? How does this work against this person? Blah blah blah. With PKing, they held off PKing for so long, and then they showed up, and it's like, oh, you have a signifier next to your name showing you are a PKer. You got all this stuff going on where it's kind of just been like a very central plot around him, and then those girls made that forum post, and the world just exploded with characters. And I'm loving every second of the show, like every second.
Yeah, I think I made this point when we were just reviewing, I think, the first couple of episodes, but I'll double down on it because it also supports what you were saying as well. This world of the game, forget the real world, which we see about like 10-20% of the time, which is just pretty straightforward. And that's the romance angle that we don't get almost any of. But in the game world, the game itself is designed, in my opinion, by an author who actually enjoys video games. Not the idea of a video game, not the setting of a video game, but actually enjoys gaming and understands what the emotions and the sort of focus of a gamer would be. This is clearly, obviously, an over-the-top, unbelievable sort of a fantasy, but at the same time, you want to root for the main character because he is an underdog with the I guess trappings of an overdog, right? So you get this really good set of expectations that when you go into an episode and Sunraku is presented with a challenge, you're not worried that he's not going to overcome the challenge, but the way he's been set up in this world as someone who doesn't know what's going on, is figuring out things on the fly, is sort of deliberately or inadvertently rushing past critical information, so that when he gets to a wall, I'm genuinely, and I think most people who are watching it are genuinely interested in seeing how does he figure out how to get over this, because the challenge he's facing is always at a level, both literally and maybe just like story-wise, above where he's at that moment. So I just like that I know what to expect out of like a couple episode arc, and I learned something about the world. It keeps kind of growing bit by bit. There's not I will say this, there's a lot of like mechanics that are what most people complain about in these types of stories, which are ass pull sort of like main character armor sorts of events. However, the way they're framed is always precluded by information that we've been given about how the world works. So it doesn't quite feel like, it's coming out of nowhere. And he is the choice to have him die early against that wolf was important, because you have to establish that like it's possible for the main character to lose. Because in another story, what would happen was he would find some shitty way to win. He'd summon some innate power and he'd get over it. Now he's the powerful guy in the world, and then that takes away a lot of the drama. So like there's that side, and then his actual attitude of being like angry at bad games and always kind of on guard to a situation where it's like, this is a Kuso game. Like what I finally figured out, this game fucking sucks. This is bullshit. And then realizing that no, this is a beautifully designed game. I just have to figure out the mechanic, and I've got the will to win. The heart of the cards, the whatever. I'm gonna be the pirate king. Whatever the fuck that energy is, he channels that, but as in a way that's believable as an over the top gamer stereotype. And I enjoy it, and the production's great, and the little bunny is fucking hilarious.
The bunny's hilarious. And I'm actually glad they got back to the bunny village. Oh wait, never mind. You're one behind. Never mind.
Well, I mean, I get they have to go back, but
they have to go back. Yeah. So then wait a second. So then the last part is so you're when Pencil showed up initially. So honestly, I actually love what they're setting up for like I'm assuming the main trio. Where like them niggas have been playing games together for a minute. And there's already not bad blood, but like there's competition.
There's rivalry, which I identify with completely. Because
you got niggas that you bring from game to game, or like you see someone where you're like, oh, you playing this now? All right, let's get in the room.
Literally, that happened this weekend where I had a bunch of people over. And there's rivalries that haven't been settled in years over different fighting games and stuff. And just seeing that come back, and you see the energy that people have for shit, even years after the fact, like, ain't no fucking way, bro. I'm gonna get you back. I'm gonna get you back on that shit.
And new rivalries were established.
New rivalries. We were playing Street Fighter 6, and people were like, "Oh, okay, you have been practicing. Okay, I see you over there." So like that is what I mean by this was written by somebody who understands and actually enjoys video games. It's not like I'm not pointing fingers. I pick on Reki Kawahara a lot, but like
I was about to say it, but okay.
That's an author that's written a lot of stories about video game worlds, but when you read those stories, I wouldn't play those games.
Well, also it's literally it's ass pull after ass pull.
Yeah, but even before you get to the games themselves that are being designed in these stories are not games that would be fun for anybody. They have mechanics that wouldn't be enjoyable. They are not presented as if like, sure, all the players are really like superficially excited, but like they are gamers. Gamers react to like Sunraku and his people. That's what I mean. I just watched fucking a fighting game tournament for the Dominican Republic. And I saw I saw the way the crowd was reacting to shit that was going down was like like the universal like gamer language. Like it was there. Doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter what language you speak. Like there's a certain attitude. And I
Yeah.
think that's what Shangri-La Frontier really captures is different types of gamers. Like the girl is clearly like she thought she was, oh, I'm gonna learn to play this game because it'll impress this boy I like, but then it unlocked something inside of her where she's clearly like a
Oh,
power gamer.
she's tapped in well before he even got there, which is honestly
She's
so interesting to me. And I'm like, I want to see how this pans out because I feel like she's not even going to become part of his crew
until like, or if it happens, it's like way later.
Yeah,
So it's like a
yeah.
gag right now. It's she's sort of like a gag of like, he was just in this town, very much like Trigun with Vashta Stampede, where like he'd come through, and then you have like Melly and like and what's her name, the blue hair, would come afterwards, and they'd be like, I wonder what happened here. Oh, Vash was here. Damn it, we just missed him. Like at some point, the Roadrunner and the Wile E. Coyote have to like meet each other. Like there has to be an interaction, but not for now because there's so much that's building, outside of that sub story. So I'm just interested, and they're not doing too much. They're not like giving you 8 million characters. You got to remember, there's not like ridiculous
and
lore.
The generic characters that we are getting, we don't even need to know their name because they're serving purposes for moving the plot along.
Right,
like the two girls who made the forum post
came back. They came back another episode, but it was to justify a plot point that was going to happen later. It made sense. We don't need to know anything else about them. If they return again as a gag, maybe they want to take a picture of the rabbit again or
but whatever. They also like gave us rules like,
oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's right.
About like, oh shit, we can't just take pictures of people. Like we didn't know that. We're new. Like didn't know that was like an etiquette thing.
I thought that part I was like, you don't have to do that. I've come back to this all the time in like shows that are like sneaky good because they pay attention to little details. It's stuff like that you don't actually have to do. Those characters could never have come back into the story. You could just see the photograph that they had taken and nothing about the plot would change at all. But by revisiting them for like 15 seconds to have them have like a learning moment about the rules of the world and the society that we live in, and that's it, add some depth and dimension to both the prior event and the characters themselves. So you don't have to do it. It's a choice to do things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a choice, and it's a good choice, and it's handled very well. So I always come back every week like, okay, what's next, let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm enjoying that.
Have you seen any more Goblin Slayer 2?
No.
Okay.
But from what I have heard, that it is much more of a complete story and less so about the shock. The shock value is not the core like here. And I suspected that would be the direction it goes because the whole setup, I watched the first 2 episodes, but the setup was clearly taking the Goblin Slayer character kind of having him step back from being the center of the storytelling, and it's more focused on the cast of characters who are around him and kind of what they've learned from him and so on. And even if you watch the first episode, you just get this vibe where that's clearly the hyper violence and everything else it's there, but it's not the selling point of whatever they're trying to do in this arc. So I've heard from other people who have watched it that it feels more of a, I don't want to say wholesome is the wrong word, but like they're just trying to do something a little different than season 1. So that's what I know. I've not seen it, so I'm not going to make any bigger claims, but
let's see. What else have you been? Returners Magic. Returners Magic.
Yes. How far are you so far?
I only got to episode 2. So when he stunned it on them in the first trial, and then
Returners Magic is a really interesting one because again, I've already talked about how I think the show suffers a little bit from not fully embracing the webtoon style that the original source material had. And so it comes off looking just visually a little more generic than I think the actual manhwa does, which is a shame because it has a very pleasant but much more cartoony and slightly more exaggerated look that I think would just stand out more in the landscape of anime. But that is what it is. As far as the story, one of the things I'd forgotten, because I think the Mon was like in the mid 200 chapter range.
What? Oh,
Yeah. So the beginning
damn.
of the
Okay.
story and where we're kind of at the end game of the story,
Oh, do you
there's
think it's
there
you guys are at the end game now in the
it
200?
it feels that way. There, at least it doesn't feel like there's maybe one more shoe to drop, and then you kind of have to wrap this shit up. B like it kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
feels
yeah,
that way.
yeah.
But one of the things that I forgot is that as much as I enjoy the Mon one, I think it's quite good and it is very popular. The first arc suffers a lot because you don't have a very clear um charismatic antagonist. And so without that, it really does come off as a very generic, like magical high school, we're gonna fight the class structure sort of parable. But that really isn't what the series ultimately winds up being about. Like that sort of if you watch the first 4 or 5 episodes, what is very clear is that okay, so Desir and his party are representatives of the lower classes, and the school itself is structured the way society is structured. So their initial success in doing all the things that they do as part of his sort of return journey is overturning stereotypes about people who just had the misfortune of being born out of the nobility. That story is fine, but if you look across like all of the sort of teen high school returner magic high school blah 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 kind of shit, I will throw Mahoka into that. We're not going to revisit that dark place, but
Yeah.
it's the same idea. And so if you've seen it before, and the fact that the art style doesn't really like stick out a lot, even though it is pretty well produced,
Yeah.
it's not doing a lot of favors for the series. However, where they wind up getting to by the end of this season, I think will sort of correct that. But I just sort of forgotten that first arc is sort of not the best foot forward for this. Now that said, the series is carried a lot by good musical choices. Like you don't think about it until you hit like a part of every episode where there's like a particular track that plays and they'll have like some digital effect on the screen of like the
Mm-hmm.
glowing embers sort of drifting into and out of frame. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, actually this is kind of evocative. Like this music is doing a lot for what would
I
otherwise
feel
be a
like,
pretty like bland event.
well, I guess what they're like 6 episodes in or 7 episodes in now. So I only watched 2 episodes. So I guess I haven't really noticed that as
Yeah, I
much.
think
Okay.
the story that I liked the least is actually dealt with in episode 3, and I'm like, Lord
Mm.
Jesus, let's just get out of this one, because that's all the stuff with like Pram and his backstory, and like it's I get at the time when this was written, and obviously I remember reading this in the manhwa itself, like every of the main cast, of which there are technically 3 others outside of the main character, they kind of each get 2.5 chapters or 3 chapters early on to kind of let you know, okay, what the fuck is their deal, like why, what are they trying to overcome, what is sort of the reason for their character being the way they are. So you've got your tsundere, you've got your like shippable twink main character, supporting character who's kind of male obsessed with our main character, so all the girls can get like their fantasy stuff off. And it doesn't really gel until we get the main antagonist, because otherwise it's just a grown-ass man goes back in time and takes a bunch of high school kids as his like pets that he's
Yeah.
raising in order to do cool
Because he
things in high
basically is
school.
grown. Yeah. He's like a second. Yeah. He's in the second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it like that isn't enough for me, and I can see it being not enough for other people, but I swear on my life that the series actually has way more going for it. But you have to like get through
Okay.
basically like the first 5 or 6 episodes to start to really get the point of what's going on. Now we're at the first. It opens with basically a tournament arc. Like that's basically
Yeah.
the first season is a tournament arc, and they skip a lot of chaff in the story you don't need, which is editing done very well. So that's how I know for a fact kind of where we're ending the season on. And where we end the season is going to be baller as fuck, but you just need to move past sort of the opening stages of like, it's unfair that rich people get better training facilities at the high school. Like
okay.
you have to get past that shit. And then everything kind of opens up and there's a great power system and really visually cool enemies and politics and missions and tough battles and all the stuff you want out of a series like this. So I
Okay.
swear, for those who are like on the fence, I'm not advising you skip the beginning, but I could understand if it feels a little generic in the beginning and it's like, okay, I've seen this before. Just
stick it
trust
out.
me. Yeah, stick it out. And again, production is pretty good. Art style that I'm complaining about aside. Music is actually good to great. I was not expecting that. And the rest will kind of fall into place. So that's my mea culpa to people who
Okay. Because I
maybe
definitely put it on the back burner for a bit because
and
I was watching
understandably
so
so.
much other shit where I was just like, this is good. I was enjoying it. I definitely enjoyed episode 2 and the way that he used his powers and things of the nature and how he was thinking about, oh, you could improve this way, or you can improve that way. So he's thinking about how he's going to teach them as he's fighting them. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Because the
But
idea is that they all died because
yeah, they weren't good enough.
fought. They weren't given the proper way to unlock their abilities early enough that once
Okay.
like things went to shit, it was like, damn, if only Pram had actually started using his real abilities when he was, training early, then he wouldn't have gone out like, a sucker later in life. We could have like overcome way more shit. And they one thing I will say, they actually undersell how bad the future that he comes from is, because they only show you like the one
That
sort of
one
like
battle.
the last
Yeah.
fight, but like what actually happened was everybody on Earth died. So you're talking about like by the time you get to that last fight, they're basically the last people left. And it's
Oh,
like, yeah, they undersell how bad it was. It wasn't just like, oh, the big bad dragon really, wasn't the final boss or it blew up. No, they had failed. Like this was a fail state for the end of the world. So
Jesus. And I thought, what? Okay, but isn't the first episode, weren't they all talking about like what they were going to do after the battle and being like,
yeah, that was
oh,
all like very, I wouldn't say like morbid, but it's like that's all you can do.
oh,
There's nothing
okay.
left. The world is fucked.
And you niggas got to make babies together, right? Shit ain't gonna happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Wow. All right. So then I guess not in a similar vein to that, the Kingdoms of Ruin, because I'm also in the same boat with that, where I watched the last episode. I watched this episode
Those
2.
first 2 episodes are rough.
I watched
the first 3 episodes.
I watched episode 2 where homegirl got fucking gutted by the sniper rifle at the very end, and I
Yep.
was like, I will be back, but there's just so much. There's just so much stuff.
So
So
much cost savings.
yeah. So you said it's gotten better.
Oh, it got like way better.
Because the last time we spoke about it, one of my things was like, are they saving money for like latter episodes? Probably.
Like maybe that's what happened. The first, specifically episodes 2 and 3, I feel like those are just production problems. I don't know about cost savings. Because usually, I mean, you tell me what your read on is. When you watch a show or a movie or anything else, and there's like a high-minded concept that clearly like the producer, director, the writer had in mind, but you could tell it's there, but the way it's put together is like embarrassingly like low fidelity. So imagine, I'll give you an example. In like film, let's say, the script says drone aerial shot of the city at night with the bridge framed by the moon, right? That's the high-minded concept. And then in practice, in the actual movie, it's like a steady cam from maybe like a boat, and it's like you don't really see the whole city, or it's like kind of CGI'd in. Like there's a gap between what was expected on the page versus the way it was actually executed. Like how much money do they put into it? How well is it edited? Do the effects look any good? To be movie versus Chris, Nolan. You know, like there's a gap. You could give them both the same material, and one is gonna do it at like the highest level, and then someone else is gonna be like, maybe I could get like my cell phone, you know, do a little panning shot. Like that shit would suck. It felt to me that there was a very high-minded idea for that city rampage in like episodes 2 and 3, but the execution of it absolutely they had to have cut scenes. Like it had to have happened because there's no way you're gonna do like basic shit. Like they couldn't even get like walk cycles animated, like when Daroka is like running running. But like the whole thing leading up to when the guy gets hit.
Only saw like her silhouette. Yeah.
You see what I mean? Like that's basic, like below basic shit. So if you're like doing still shots for that, I feel like there were production fuck ups. And so that's just a way to cover your ass. Because they would go on for like 10, 15 seconds. It wasn't like short stuff.
No.
Like they had that helicopters, and they would just see like it would be a still shot panning of like the helicopter in the air, and then like the blow off from like shooting the machine gun.
Well,
but
even with animated. Her saving the kid from episode 2 with like the falling building. Yes. And I was kind of just like, what? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. All right.
This felt like someone did like the composting for like one shot, and they're like, okay, animators, you got to fill it after this with like the key art, and they just never did it. Or they did it and it was like it sucked, so they just said fuck it. We're just gonna keep the voice track and we're just gonna stretch the scene with just the key art frame, and then that's it. So I think it was a fuck up. I will look into this because sometimes it does come out like what happened, because people will apologize, like directors will often like apologize for some. I just haven't looked into it, mostly because I don't want to have to translate news stories because they almost never get translated into English, and my Japanese is still like 11 years old, so it takes a while, and I don't trust the auto translators. So that said, after episode 3, like 4, 5, and 6, then I'm like, oh, I stood up a little bit, like I see what y'all doing over there. I see it. There are scenes that I would tell people it's worthwhile to go watch the show because it's so fucking crazy. Like there's one where a guy does like a Iaido sword draw and cuts the heads off of like 40 witches in a field, but it's like they do the shot of like the arc of the sword going in a circle, and then they do like the close-in panning of like heads popping off and shit, and it's great. Like it's like ultra violent, it's stylized, they do interesting stuff with like camera angles, and there's still points where you can tell they're not fully animating everything, but it's not the bullshit of like, oh, we're gonna have a panning shot for 15 seconds. It's like, okay, an impact move where maybe only one thing is animated in that shot, but it actually looks good as opposed to looking cheap or looking like, oh, you know, I was trying to say the producer or the director for that segment was like, nah, we need to save some fucking money. So that's like one thing. Second of all, I have no idea where the story is going, because it's almost like everything in this story is a bait and switch somehow, but it's like a bait and switch where like, oh yeah, right, the main character's a fucking dick, so like of course he wouldn't go along with what anybody wants to do here, and then that leads to chaos, and there's all these faction fighting shit. There's a really cool shot of gravestones on the moon, which would be like explained by some of the shit that actually like happens in the story. People getting dissected, characters dying left and right. There's like the aftermath of like the 3rd episode is that the girl, the weird like a vice captain girl for the city, the sister of the main dude, is basically like on death's life support because of the thing that happened. Remember, it was a still shot. She ran into this like super irradiated area, and that doctor lady went after her.
To go get the magic suppression thing.
Right. So she is like totally out of the picture, and then the doctor is literally like on a gurney upright, about to die in the command room, like all fucked up. Like it's like a lot of cool bullshit happens. And it's all kind of like it's messy.
Are you like enjoying the revenge?
Yes, no, it's messy in a good way, because like everybody's screaming at each other, trying to kill each other. Like I like that. It's super bloody. There are more powers going on now that like the witches have been brought into the story. The main character is a I don't want to say he's a total psychopath because he has plans, But there's just like if you the shift from episode to episode about all the crazy shit that's like happening is making me pay attention to what's going on because it's batshit insane. And that's kind of what I wanted from this. If we were not going to get like a very grounded sci-fi magic like revenge story, then make it insane where everybody is just like totally out of their minds. Like every episode you can't guess what's going to happen, people dying everywhere, getting blown apart by like powers you don't get. Like fuck it, just go balls out. And that's kind of what they do. So I'm liking what I'm watching.
Okay. All right. Those are the two that I've been like eyeing where I'm like, okay, what am I gonna get caught up on? I'm gonna get caught up on Jujutsu Kaisen, Returners, or Kingdom Ruin, but then also the 100 girlfriend shit apparently is popping off.
Oh damn.
Like crazy.
Well, and, you know, there's a girl for everybody, right? There's 100 of them.
Yeah, all right, I guess since we're talking about niggas getting guts blasted, Rockin' the Crimson is so fun. Oh yeah. My god. Wait, what episode are you on? Wait, how far?
Oh, I'm caught up. I'm totally caught up.
Man. Okay, so the shit with the wind dude, I was like, okay, I guess, you know, whatever. They got that nigga. Ultimisia, the moment where she went and like saw the god, and the god was like a child, and she was just like jumping to conclusions like, oh, this city doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, that shit was nuts, bro.
I was like, I have to kill everyone because the god doesn't recognize the city. And I'm like, what? What you? Oh, you're fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy,
nuts, bro.
But then the end of last week's episode and the majority of this week's episode of just like mauling Ultimisia, I was like, oh shit, this is so cool. This is so cool. And I love because they got me, but it made sense. The fact that all this shit was happening, he was just like, I'm gonna break through this shit. I'm going to kill you. And at the last moment, his body breaks down on him. And I'm like, this makes sense because what has been happening since the beginning? Your body is slowly catching up to your powers. When that nigga did 100% like battle, I was like, nah, that shit gonna catch him. But like right before the end, I was like, shit, like, woo. Also the part where Nebulim popped up behind her was like, nigga.
Yeah. Yo, I laughed my ass off. Actually, that should have me dying.
I would say the show is a little not gruesome. I think it has a darker tone, but it's just as fun as Shangri-La. I think.
Yeah, you know what it reminds me of in a good way? That vibe that Seven Deadly Sins had sort of in the first season towards the end, when like you had the cast was together and they would have these like fights where like people would just like, you know, some badass like dude in armor would just like show up and you'd be like, oh fuck, what's going on? And then he gets like utterly destroyed.
Yes.
Destroyed. Like the Escanor shit, where it's just like, you're just like, wow, I don't know what I thought was gonna happen, but this nigga is gone. And they be just washing people, like the whole squad from the Wind Dragon fight.
Yeah.
Then they you know they're all dead. But like they set them off like, oh, you about to be the real heroes now. Nah, nigga, like
homeboy literally found them and was like,
he said it's real out here. Like, I don't know what you think is about to happen, but your asses are gone. But I think for me, what needed to carry the show after like the first few episodes had to be the relationship or whatever you want to call it between now our two main or protagonists. It had to be that. It could not just be
we're hunting them. Yeah.
Right. You know, monster of the week where I'm just gonna go find a dragon and then like use the power of, you know, the main character powers and kill everything. Like that's fine in the beginning if you want to establish how powerful somebody is. But now we're at the point where it's like machinations and plans and plots and different abilities and how do we take these people out. And they've started to grow that cast of supporting characters now. We have Golem, right? We got the cat girl. Chimera, they don't like each other. I like the tease where it was like he gets sent out to go stop the other.
Oh, he throws her the key and he's like, this body is in this room.
Yeah. So you get like the tease, but then you actually see him do something really cool to like really impact the fight. So now that's like, oh, okay, these are not just like fodder guys that
Yeah, because he knew he wasn't strong enough to one-on-one, but he did know that he can disrupt. And I was like,
right.
okay, so you are useful.
Yeah, my cardinal rule of storytelling is if you introduce any kind of supporting character, you gotta give them something to do. They can't just be on screen commentating, what I'm already seeing.
Oh
Like
my
they
god,
need a purpose.
slime. But she was like, go to the place that
Yo, when he got what's the dragon's name? The barrier
Nephilim.
dragon? That
Nephilim,
nigga came right up
yeah.
behind him.
Where he
Like,
was like, I gotta hold the barrier.
Yep. I was like, yo, you
so,
gone, man.
so
Absolutely.
funny.
So they did kill one of them. Like ultimately they did.
Yeah.
So like that, so that's good. But there was so much about the
Wait, no, that was before the rewind.
Oh,
that
I'm sorry,
alive.
right. He got reset.
Yeah.
He got reset. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, and then to have Ragnar lose essentially is exactly the same thing I said about Shangri-La Frontier. You tease the audience with what they can expect week to week, and then you, at a time when it's not going to fuck the story up, you have your main character lose, so that there's like always some doubt that like maybe it doesn't work out this time. Maybe they zig when they could have zagged, and they're already setting up him versus the Lightning Dragon, because that's the guy who is like clearly messing with
battle
Ultimisia.
hardened.
Yeah, he's like the big bad. He's the Grimjaw type.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun because
and his voice actor is like really popular too. I forgot who his voice actor is.
Yeah, I should look that up. So like when we saw the preview, I think one thing I said was, if this is just a series where motherfuckers are screaming at each other and it's just like just fight after fight after fight, I'll be satisfied. I like a step above that. Like that would be what I describe as like maybe a C plus B minus with like some sauce. We're at like maybe a B plus because there's some actual like interesting concepts. The power systems kind of getting fleshed out a little bit. I like the interactions with our very small cast of characters. We have some primary villains that have ideologies, they have ideas, they're very different from each other, they're creepy as fuck. You kind of want to see them all get fucking murdered in the worst way. And now I can look forward to like some pretty well choreographed screamy Dragon Ball Z fights with like dragon powers and exploding fists and bodies getting chopped up and whatever. So yeah, hook me up, give it to me. I'm all ready.
I just really like that fucking fight, man. He fucking washed her. It's just so.
I like when he just showed up. He was like, "I made a mistake.
Yeah,
I was like, bro,
I actually do want to fight."
This could go one of two ways, and they went I'm gonna beat this bitch's ass like nonstop. Like, oh, you want to come back?
So good.
You want to come back?
So
okay,
good.
I'll keep killing you.
Honestly, the level of shit that we got like this, I was like, Dragon Ball, take notes. Yeah. Take notes.
Say less.
Take notes. Say less. this is the kind of shit they should be on, where it's just like, I changed my mind. No more talking.
Yeah.
Fight.
What's now that I think about it, are there really any good examples in like, let's just say like the last 5 to 7 years of like shonen anime where the vibe off rip from beginning to end was just, it's on site, I'm gonna beat your motherfucking ass all the way through? Because like Fire Force was a little bit like that.
Maybe Jujutsu Kaisen, like the first part.
There were some, like, there were some jumpinings in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, but I guess those came like in the fight. I guess like I would say like on contact, like first fight. I think it was that like special grade curse, the first curse that they all went to.
True. Like, okay.
Yeah, his arm got cut. Well, what did his arm get cut off or whatever? His hand get cut off or whatever.
Yeah, he melted his own fist.
Yeah. I think maybe that, but I think that was done by the curse. The curse showed up and was like,
I'm talking about where the main character was about to smoke from minute one. And like that's a vibe that has been, I feel like, has been missing. Like from the charcuterie board of like shonen shit. Like there's gotta be, I need this to be a rule. Every season there's at least one action series where there's fuck thought. Get thought out of here.
Yeah.
We don't want, we ain't
fight
talking.
First.
Yes. Like if I see the ops, fuck this. We going in. I don't care what happens. I need that energy.
Actually, Frieren was on
True.
that
Okay.
shit.
That's a little,
When she walked into town and was like, da like,
yeah,
nah.
I buy that. No, I
Yeah.
definitely buy that one. So
Yeah.
in general, though, I think that vibe is missing. We need a lot more of that shit. That's kind of why I stuck around with Kingdoms of Ruin, because at the end of the day, the main character is like on site, fuck everything. Let's go. I'm gonna whip out my biggest shit immediately. I don't give a fuck. Like
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like
okay.
I'm going right for it, no questions asked. I like that. Too much talking sometimes. Niggas be just wanting to chatter and talk about philosophy
Now is
and shit.
not the time to flesh
No,
out the plot.
like DBZ, OG DBZ. Once the bad guy was out here, and you had niggas just jumping in, like when they shouldn't be, but they just jumping in. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Where is that energy? Who got this one when Trunk showed up and just like, oh fuck
Yeah.
this, I'm watching everybody.
Just kill him.
Yeah,
just kill him.
Like let's go. So I like what I'm seeing over there. Like I get it. Get Leo out of here. We didn't need her. Like fuck, it was weird.
Oh my god,
That's some weird
the
shit,
fact
bro.
that like Leo was so important for the first episode, and now I'm like,
who the fuck is she? Get her out of here.
Bitch. Like I'm like,
that is great. The
yeah.
show is great because of it. Get her out of here. So
yeah. Question: did you watch any more of Kamirabi?
I watched 2 more episodes.
Okay.
I like it. I think that the art style will initially put some people off, but it is actually a very, very violent show. And so the fact that like the aesthetic is very super deformed, at least for like the main, because they're kids, but they're obviously drawn in a way and animated in a way that's like, you know, it's not like a built for like gritty, grimy look at violence, but like the shit that be happening to people, I'm like, yeah, that sucks. If you have like an ability that can like warp reality where you can like remove all the oxygen out of somebody's body, or I think what happened in episode 3 was, or 2, it was 2 or 3, where the guy, the gas mask like fire bomber, the way they beat him was to like make his body reject oxygen, which meant that they couldn't, both the flames couldn't work, and also he would just like asphyxiate and die. Like that shit is crazy. It's the first show that I watched where I don't want the main character to use their powers, because they are so overpowered that probably they could solve most problems. Like if it were me, because the main character's kind of an idiot a little bit, which annoys me. But like if it were me, it would solve a lot of issues just using it once off rip, killing everybody, and then I'd be good. But the consequence of like having reality rewritten so his life, his karma is worse and worse and worse, and like nobody realizes it because once the past is changed, it just propagates forward into the future.
Yeah,
it's kind of creepy. It's a little bit creepy, like to think about, you know, how it would feel if you knew that you were really like you had lived a different life, but like it's not coming back.
Ooh,
and you got to kill all your friends. And there's also the thing where even though he's got supporters, he's got the girl who he's partnered with, and his best friend from school, who all are in the game, have powers and help. Eventually, they got to kill each other.
Yeah,
like eventually that has to happen. So that's kind of the final shoe, is like you get to the end and like who was playing who, or like, you know what I mean? It's not clear to me how they're going to resolve a lot of that, which is good. I think it's just a good show. It's just you may have to get past personal feelings about the art direction and like CGI, but it's well animated. It looks good and it's funny. Like when you start jerking off in front of the girl.
Oh God!
I was like, what is happening?
Oop, okay.
Well, he wasn't doing it of his own volition. He just made a wish that then backfired on him, because he was like joking around, like, oh, I really wish I could sleep with this girl. And so then like reality rewrote itself so that it was her and him alone, and she was down the clown, and so his hand just started moving on his own volition so bad where he had to like get the fuck out of there. Like he just ran out while jerking himself off because he's like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. But it was
okay. All right.
That's episode 2, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Or is it 1 or 2? Maybe it's 1. That's just crazy though.
Okay. All right. I would guess, let's see. I'm watching the Shut In Vampire Princess, and I just will say this is another one where
You say it got lit.
Shit. Okay, well, first of all, the first 2 episodes, you're like, okay, like, yeah, something's going on. Episode 3 is when you're like, oh, okay, seems like something might happen. Episode 4 is when body parts start coming off, throats get crushed,
Woo.
like stabbing niggas in ankles so they can't run. Like, it just went from like, it got crazy. But the core thing about the show is because they have these black cores where even if you die, you come back to life because of the power of the black cores, and there's one in every country, things of that nature. But they introduced ritual weapons, which basically are exempt from the black core. So if you get injured by a ritual weapon, you have to recover from that injury naturally. Like the black core isn't just gonna heal you up like in the next like 2 minutes. If you die,
bullshit, man.
if you die from a ritual weapon, you're dead. The black core cannot bring you back. Okay. So that's where the stakes kind of came into it, where there's like an organization that wants to get rid of the black cores, and they have ritual weapons, and they're actively trying to dismantle the governments of all the countries to get rid of the black cores because they don't know where the black cores are at. Anyways, man. Homegirl, I will say this, for them to portray her as a weak character and then have her fight in her weak form, I like the way that when she did decide to fight in her like weakened state, the way that she used the abilities that she had of her own, even though she's not like extremely talented or whatever in like certain aspects, was really good, and it showed that the character is actually smart. Like
I like that.
She was using abilities in ways where she was just like, she set shit up as she was fighting, and she knew that the person was going to underestimate her. So that played to her favor. That was great. And then she did her core implosion and just like started murking niggas. Homegirl's arm just like flopped on the floor, and she goes, huh? 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 I was like, oh, yeah. So what they're doing now is there are definitely like comedy aspects still interspersed throughout the show. But they're getting right back into the dark shit. They're getting right back into the dark shit where now somebody is like a terrorist, and they're like, every time you don't do everything that we're gonna do, we're gonna kill one of your siblings. Okay. So what do you know? Why is it taking you so long to get this shit done? And there's literally a scene where the main character in this past episode almost got choked out, like under the moon, where they were like, oh, let's go watch the like moonlight together, blah, blah. Isn't it beautiful? They were like, look up at the stars, and blah, 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 blah. And then she got saved after that moment. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on with you niggas? Like, what's happening? So I see why the light novel and the source material has a following, because somebody did say when they recommended this show to me that like when shit goes down, like it gets really, really, really crazy. And I'm like, I can see that now, because the ending of the climax of the first arc was definitely entertaining, but now they're going right back into it and the stakes are even crazier. So really enjoying that one. Apothecary Diaries. Mao Mao's my bitch. That's my bitch. I love her so much. Aoi Yuki's doing a phenomenal job voicing the character as usual, of course. She's one of the most in-demand voice actresses in Japan right now. But I love Mao Mao because she is a woman that is completely like, the sense of self is like, it's not flawless, but she does what she needs to do to get what she wants. And I'm not talking about like, blackmailing people or things of that nature. She is really into being an apothecary. She loves herbs. She's a little bit crazy because she likes to test poisons on herself, and she gets some joy out of that shit. So it's like, okay, you crazy. But then she also grew up around a brothel, which makes sense because those women are constantly getting STDs, diseases from all kinds of men who are going in and out. And the brothel was one of the main clients of she and her father's apothecary. By being in the brothel and learning what kind of men came in there, how those women navigate those men and things of that nature, she kind of set herself up basically for life on how to basically like move in silence and be unbothered by people. And And they are constantly building on that theme of like, because of her beginnings, this is how she deals with people. And it's not offensive. It's just a very like straightforward, I don't want to get raped. And you niggas have all the power in the world. So what am I going to do? She puts on makeup to not look better. She puts on makeup to make herself look uglier so that she won't get raped.
Ooh.
Yeah. And there's a lot. I mean, a baby died in the first episode. But also you would think that like a lot of it is, you know, like individual episodes, like one-offs, like, oh, we're gonna solve this episode's mystery. It's not, it's actually like a whole bunch of stuff like interspersed together that are affecting things back to back to back. And they will hint at like the next mystery in the next episode, and they'll solve it in the first 5 minutes and move the plot along.
Oh, well, great.
It's like, uh-oh, this is about to happen. And then she comes in and she's like, oh, well, actually, when you burn this kind of wood, it releases toxic fumes. And you were about to kill them villagers. So, because you thought the villagers poisoned your food, when actually it was the bonfire, the wood that you chose to cook. So it's like, oh, okay, this is interesting. But also you have the politics coming in it behind like the concubines, the emperor, all the things like that. And the show is just so fucking good. It's really, really good. And it plays off of the interactions between all of the characters, like brand new characters coming in. It's the way that Mao Mao interacts and like notices things. And so when she hears something off cuff, she's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have heard that, because now I'm gonna be nosy and I want to know what the fuck is wrong with her. And then she ends up solving it. And there are even instances where she solves things for people and they immediately reject it because they're like, bitch, you're a handmaid. And she's like, cool, die. So, and that became a plot line that like came up recently, where like someone who treated her like absolute shit in the beginning is now one of her like biggest supporters, because they recognized her for her like abilities, not just her status. So this phenomenal show. And
That's cool.
Also it had like one of my favorite episodes is just that causing pain through ignorance is still unacceptable, even if you're ignorant. Like, and it, oh my god, like she slaps, like slapping bitches. Like, oh, that's the thing though. Like you talk about on site. She literally learned there's a plot line from the first episode, the first 2 episodes that she solved and she thought was over. And then it comes back up in the latter episodes because people are like, oh, beauty is the most important thing. Da 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 da. And she just starts slapping bitches. And she's like, I told you bitches to not use this shit. It's killing you. What are you doing? Like, it was amazing. It was
beauty
amazing.
Is pain, apparently. I've been told.
That's literally what they were going for. And she was just like, in this case, it's not pain. It's you are poisoning yourself. You're killing. The baby died because of this. So, like, I'm slapping you. I'm beating your ass now, which is amazing. She has a confidant and like a male who recognized her talent. So that's how she gets access to things. And after that, she's been on a rise, but it goes against what her character wants, because her character just wants like a chill life to do whatever the fuck she wants. She just wants to like sit in the background, make her money, but she keeps getting all of these allies, and to the point where she's even got the attention of the emperor, because he's like, yo, I hear homegirl over in the concubine like area solving all kinds of shit. So like, you know, bring her over here. Like, what? Come here. Like, can you solve this? So I see why it's one of the top selling, top ranking things in Japan. It's phenomenal. It's really, 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 really good.
That's awesome.
Highly recommend.
I may take a look. Listen,
it's not super soapy or dramatic. It's very like straightforward, but also the production is really good. The shots that they want to stand out, they make them stand out. Yeah, and like there's a clear art direction. I think it's not like cell shading, but they do like like the characters some kind of have like that glass look to them, like glowy. I don't know how to. There's probably a proper artistic term for it. So someone will let me know. But it's really, really good, just all around. Just 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I love that show. I love that show.
Yo, let's talk about Eminence.
Ooh. Okay, so listen, at one point, I was overthinking this arc. And then I had to come back and basically be like, you should not be overthinking this because this nigga's not overthinking this. This nigga, all he wants is to make counterfeit bills and take over the company, but he doesn't want to tell them he wants to take over the company. He just wants to take it over and then have them be thankful. And it's just like, but nigga, you already own everything. Like
But he doesn't know that he does.
But then
he thinks it's all a joke. He thinks it's all them just playing along, having fun, ripping him off, all the stories he told them.
I will have to say, wait, when was the last time we talked about it? Did we get past the vampire thing?
We were just at the episode where he one shots the what guy we thought was the antagonist for that episode.
So first of
all, we didn't talk about the episode that came after that, which was fucking nuts.
That was so fucking cool. Also, she had a blood scythe, and I love scythes. So I was like, yo, I love her. Like, yo, fight. The fight was cool. The plot was interesting. Also, they kept like disrespecting the Black Tower dude like nonstop during that little arc. And I'm like, how the fuck are you running shit? These niggas are watching you. But
I mean, the shades and shadow are all next level.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like you have to just accept that there's really nothing on this planet. Maybe that one
so there was that important part where Aura, based Diablo, Aurora, is that her name?
Yep.
Basically inherited Homegirl's body, or
so like, she wrote herself over on top of Claire as a part of awakening her blood, but it's not clear if she's manifesting through her to take her over, or but it seems more likely is that she's just trying to help because she agrees.
That's what I got it as.
Yes, I think she's just trying to help, but in order to do that first of all, that holds the not really flashback, sort of like internal memory of Sid's, which was borrowed by her, that she brings Claire into to have that conversation about what Sid really is and like what he's really trying to do, was awesome. It was a really awesome, because it's, again, we're on the outside looking in. There really isn't a grand plan that Sid is aware of, but the show always straddles this interesting line of, can you really believe that it's totally just a game to him, when there are times when it's very clear he wouldn't do the things that he's doing if he didn't have some understanding of the setting that he had found himself in. So it gets a little bit more and more unbelievable that it's totally just a complete joke. But then we have like 4 episode runs like we've kind of gotten the last month where like he's just fucking around for his own personal benefit. But it's not like, how do I say, what's the right way to say this? Maybe you have a clearer thought than I do, but like take the Delta little sub story that's happening, right? He's fooling around in his little John Smith cosplay. He talks with Delta beforehand as Shadow. They play. He goes and kills some guys in a sewer. They don't really explain like exactly why he was down there helping her, except he was kind of just having a good time.
Fucking around,
He's just fucking around. And then he runs into her on the train. And like, I don't know what to say, how the right way to say this, but like, Alpha was worried that she was dead. And frankly, Sid could basically kill everybody he doesn't care about. But he doesn't. He just kind of like, he's like off doing his own thing. And like, if you add up all of his behavior between playing John Smith and then the Shadow stuff, I can't fully believe that he's like not caught on to the fact that there are in fact like Church of Diablo's people that are really doing some fuck shit, because it's not like he goes around killing everybody. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like this psychopathic murderer who's just like, oh, I'll kill civilians.
Yeah, like, how dare you challenge me?
Right. It is a little more targeted. So I'm wondering just how far the jokey part of the story is going to go. Because right now, he's like salting his own girls. Like, it's like Alpha shows up, gets absolutely washed.
Which also, I gotta say, I love the wire combat.
Slammed his foot. Yeah, that's just ill.
I love the wire combat. It looks so cool.
Yeah, but I don't. But for the, again, in this series, I don't know where they're going. which is
I don't know
good.
where they're going, but I think this is good. I feel like the Shadow Garden, like the top girls, are getting way more development this season
Hell yes.
than they did last season, and I'm actually loving that. You brought up like the Delta part. I love the fact that we've been, Delta has shown up before, and so now when she attacks him, it makes absolute sense that like, she recognizes him because she's
I thought about that
person.
immediately. I was like, she's gonna smell him.
She's
like,
gonna smell him.
Knows.
And then he immediately was like, oh shit. All right, well,
the jig is up. All right.
Yeah, he's like, it's me. And then he's like, all right, go conquer the Black Tower and I'll give you whatever you want, which I know what she wants because in the last time they were in the sewer, she was like, we need to make babies together. They're going to be the strongest babies.
We know
exactly
what
she was gyrating on that nigga as he lifted her up to put her out the window.
Brother.
So I'm like, we already know what's going to happen. And then, of course,
what she wants is the D. And he was like, I'll give you anything you want, but what do you say? It has to be in my power to give you. It has to be free.
Yes.
And something else. I'm like, nigga, you about to be on the run.
You told her she's not gonna forget. I also really like her voice actress. I think her voice actress really embodies the character.
Great really well. Fucking time with that role.
For Alpha, I think that this is great because Alpha is she's been in the arc. She's been, in the background talking. I'm the one running this shit. Da 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 da. But we have not seen any kind of character development of her. I think
we absolutely got that this arc. Yeah, absolutely.
This is going to be great because now it's going to be like you've been living your life for him, but when he doesn't need you, what do you do?
Right.
What do you
do? But you know
where
this is going. It's gonna come all the way right back around to like Sid. Sid is literally God.
He's gonna make something up the last second. Because yes, but also my favorite thing, and this is what I've been waiting on, is seeing the princess still pissed about her loss. That shit.
Yeah, she was like, "What the fuck are you talking about these books, bitch?
Yo,
what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean?"
Past her sister, like, shut the fuck up.
Like, what do you even mean, bro? Get the fuck out of here.
She's stuck in the past. Elf lady just went on and was like, "All right, I'm gonna keep traveling. All right."
Yeah. That was interesting, but time to go.
Yeah, she's like, bye.
I mean, Alexia has absolutely had a trajectory that makes sense. She kind of said that in her one-sided conversation with her sister. She's talking about how like it's not enough just to like I was obsessed with basically meeting your strength standards, but there's so many other things in this world that you have to be good at in order to earn the right to intervene and like make changes and everything else. So like in addition to training, I'm training my brain. I'm training, my etiquette, my knowledge about the world,
networking skill,
networking. Like that's what it's gonna take to get to the level where I can affect things. That was again character growth. Nothing really to do with
very good growth.
All.
Actually, comparing it to the first season, very good growth. Yeah,
right. Like then you run into Beta, who's still just losing her, like the fan fiction. Sid writing that fucking code.
Oh my god, that nigga was like, these are languages that I created. I'm like, oh, you so full of shit, nigga. You so.
I have no idea what he wrote on that paper, but I guarantee you, it's going to be translated into something that he did not intend.
He did not know what
to solve the problem.
Oh my, you're so fucking right. The thing is, I love how no matter what plot it is, young Sid is always somewhere nearby.
Right.
And has had an effect on it. Because Homeboy, one of the reasons why Homeboy, who killed the village, messed up the like white fox woman, blah, 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 is missing the eye. Yukime is missing his eye, is because right after he did all that shit, young Sid showed up and was just fucking him up. And just like sliced his eye with the I like the yelling in it. I'm like, it's always you. It's always you, nigga. It's always you. Somehow.
Can we talk also about Gamma and her situation at the company where they fought those assassins? Like, what do you call them, the Clovers or whatever they were?
Oh my god, the fact that you know what? Everyone has their stick, and they're sticking to it hard for her. The fact that the fact that they did
there were so many gags in that fight.
The flashback with Sid. First of all, he looked bored, and he was
like, extremely bored.
He was like, "You just have really high
before we get
stats."
past that, I think that part is underrated and overlooked. like as far as like how we got where we are in the story. Because the more you see the flashbacks, the more you realize like he was literally just bullshitting and wasting time. And like
Yes.
it, they say things like, "Oh, you know, this is something Master Sid taught us," and in my head, I'm like, "Well, we haven't." What did that actually entail? Was that literally like him sitting down and just talking? Yes, that's actually what it was. He just said for years,
He
just
bullshit.
brain dumping all the
He
dumb shit
gave
that he
them the
grew up
idea
with.
for credit. They literally were sitting there, go credit. So, but what if we do this? If we offer them at this rate, then and he's in the background like,
Did he?
just
What was he
chilling.
like? He said, "God bless the Japanese national public education system."
Yes.
I was dying. I was
Yes.
like, "Don't!" But he was saying it because it set up the scenario that he was having so much fun in. Like, I'm gonna be a secret agent that takes down the entire economic system. This is gonna
Yes.
be great. And
And
then
that's literally all it is. Like he's not even trying to like make things better for anyone except
no,
himself. He's
no.
entertaining himself.
He did, it's just like the first three or four episodes where it's like I get to be in the vampire zombie hunter movie and I get to
Oh
say
my
cool
god!
cryptic shit.
Thank you. I still hate that nigga for repeating that girl's phrase.
To her,
The Crimson Moon is coming, and I'm like, this is
yeah, the
they
Mary
stick to the
shit, yeah,
gags and they
they
stick to them
do.
so confidently. Where I'm like, I cannot be mad. I
So
cannot be
so
mad.
in this one, it's him not actually knowing the details of the scheme and then like just being skeptical of everything. And it's like, you were right. I can't see that it's worse. Oh, you were right. You know, da, da, da. And I'm like, bro, this guy,
He
he's like,
just says no to whatever
remember
they
when he
say
picked the
back to
wrong
him.
bill and then they were like, he was like, huh? She was like, huh? No.
Well, no, even when he first came to her and he was like, we should make counterfeit bills. And she was like, no, this is going to collapse this, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, in his head, he was like, oh, really? And he was like, but no, we should do it. And she was like, you're right. Because if we do it this way, da, 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 da. And then
This
he's
was a
like,
test.
yeah,
This was a test the whole time. Like
yes.
this nigga did not know shit. Meanwhile, she's got beef with what is that guy's name? Is it Crimson or whatever his name is?
I don't know
Like
what is it. Yeah.
every time they meet, her and Sid meet up, Yukibe and Sid meet up in the same spot, it's always gag about the money, you know, the credit
Money.
crashing
Yes.
scheme that he has no idea what is even going on.
And that
then
was kind
at
of
the
my
end of
thing,
it,
though. I was like, am I supposed to know what's be going on? And then after a while, I was like, I'm not. Because he doesn't
you're
even
not. No, it's literally like the C plot that every other B and A plot is revolving around, but like it's the thing that we don't really care about. Like it's like
Yeah.
giving everybody something to do. But every conversation him and Yukibe have always goes the same way with her, like, you know, escalating the money, the credit bubble scheme basically on her own because Sid doesn't know or care what is going on. And then you get like a 2 to 5 minute info dump about her tragic backstory and her eternal beef with, now we know, is like her ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That Sid, I don't even think Sid even knows or cares what's going on.
He did not care about what she
he
just
did
said.
not care the first time.
He was just like,
all
right, you get on the train. Okay.
He's like, thank you for setting this up for me. He's like, oh, whatever. And then he's like, look at all this money. This is the funnest thing ever. Oh my God. And meanwhile, she's going off to like some death battle with this character, which is ironically, even though it's an afterthought for Sid, it's a good thing because she's gotten a ton of character development.
Yes.
But somehow she's gotten it almost by herself. Like Sid is there,
and
but he's
to be
like
honest,
not really
I feel like it's gonna come back to the lawless city in some form or fashion because
and isn't she another curse?
Because he said the
girl?
lawless city is his bank. So it's just like it's gonna come back around. If you're dealing with all this kind of money shit, it's coming back around to the lawless
That's
city.
true. All he's really been chasing these last like mini arcs is just cash.
And
the first one was cash. When the gold coins were dropping.
Yes, that was during the battle. He was like, I gotta end this shit because the coins.
Like, my money, bro, my money. And he doesn't even realize that he has all the money he could ever want. If he just asked for it, they would just give it to him. But he just being greedy.
Didn't they give him some money? Well, they give him merch.
They showed him the money, but then he actually went with the disguise. Remember, like they when you first get like the introduction of Gamma, like when he goes to the Mitsubishi company as Shadow, she shows up and like has the people carry in like that big thing of cash, and he was like, oh, but his reaction was, holy shit, they just took all the stuff I was doing too far. Like that was his only reaction. And then it was all about like, oh, I need a disguise.
And now it's like a huge bank toppling corporation.
I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, this is going to end with like Mitsubishi Company owning everything.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
and then it'll be like, oh, Shadow engineered this for us. Like, this was really a scheme to like put us on top, and we just didn't know. And meanwhile, it'll just be him like, man, I thought I was gonna get all that fucking cash, and I couldn't get it. God damn it. But what I was gonna say is that, like, again, a lot of conversations in this series with so many uh tropey characters that are usually just there to like satisfy the male audience and the male main character would pass the Bechdel test. They're talking to amongst each other about things that have nothing to do with any guys. It's about stuff they want to accomplish. It's their goals. Sid is not directing them to actually go do anything about the Cult of Diablos or anything else. Everything is self-directed. That scene where Alpha thought Delta was dead and was like, oh shit, like, oh, she really cares about all these people. Is like, there's character development that's just separate from the usual bullshit. So I said that, weekly, which shows that I'm looking forward to, and Shangri-La's in there, and Jujutsu Kaisen is like where it is. But Eminence of Shadow is fascinating, aside from also being very good.
Yes,
like
it's
fun
just...
to watch, funny, well animated. The music is great.
Music is really
some
good,
mystery, some intrigue about what's going on, new characters, lots of gorgeous women, a little bit of fan service. Not as much as you would think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like
Delta
oh my
bouncing
god,
on crotches and shit.
well, the biggest fan service always comes with the end card at the end of the episode.
True
Because
facts.
I mean, but those have been going up and down. Like some of them, I'm just like, are they that you put this on TV? And in the other ones, I'm like, oh, she's pretty clothed. Okay, like cool.
Yeah,
I'm having fun with that. But then in another form, I'm really enjoying Freerin. Like,
Freeren's quite good.
how far are you on Freerin?
Watch 3 episodes, the first 3.
Oh, you watched first 3. Oh, so you got a ways to go.
But I've heard and seen everybody that I know who was into Mushoku Tensei is hardcore into Freerin for one reason or another.
Yeah,
and I see the similarities. So I very much enjoy it. It's just feels a little, for my taste, it's on the slower side, but that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a very, very, very good thing. So
it has, it's like on the slower side, but it takes its time, but I kind of like it. Like even though it's slow, the pacing isn't slow, if that makes sense. Like we're still getting constant world building throughout everything. And also the main thing, or I guess like the centrifugal force of the plot, is like Freeren's relationships now and in the past. So to flesh those things out, I guess, showing them just like living, doing things in the moment together are great. But the battle stuff is like skyrocketing now, like, because the way they pose the series, it's like, this is after all of the fighting has happened. No. When you get to the part when the demons come back into the plot, like are back, it's like, oh shit, like nah, they gonna be getting down. And if you finish episode 3, you saw when they went and reanimated Homeboy and washed him. It's just it's only gonna get better and better from that. But it's so good. It's really, really
there's
good.
actually not on the, say, fantasy action side, even though I think Freerun has a lot more going for it than just the setting and the fact that there's high quality action animations, a lot more going for it. There's not as much like mature content, and you'd think that with the success of things like the last couple seasons of Mushoku Tensei and many other series, just over, let's say, like 5 to 10 years, that you would get more on a seasonal basis, because I think those are the types of shows that if you want to reach out beyond just like the hype beast sort of shonen action crowd, because a lot of people I know who watch Freerun are not your typical action anime or fantasy anime consumers. They are older women. They are adults who don't really watch any anime at all, but they were slice of lifers, people who were recommended this not as like an anime, but like something that's a little deeper, has a little bit more maturity, more restraint, I think.
People who enjoy like Full Metal Alchemist. would really
Right.
enjoy this.
Yeah, and it's presented like it's a prestige show. You know, the production and everything else. The only thing I'm a little interested about is like why it hasn't had more marketing, at least on the Western side, given how much money has clearly been spent on this production. Like a lot of money.
I feel like the YouTubers are doing the work for it because
Absolutely, yeah, no, it's got a lot
Giga
of like natural
Mother's
hype.
Basement, yeah, like
Yeah,
they are.
it's got a lot
I
of natural
know.
hype.
I think Giga has been reading the manga before it came out,
Yeah,
so he's been waiting to like gush about
but can
this.
I say I always worry about that kind of promotion. It's a good thing. These are like big channels. These are big sort of thing. But what I think a
I
lot
might
of
know
what
where you're
happens
going
is
with this. Yeah.
I've heard this. I directly heard the sentiment before about this show, which is it's a show people are telling you to watch. And like I think that in a way that is not as good. You know, like because there's always that feeling of like, okay, well, the kind of person that would recommend so everyone's somebody's first anime be Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That's kind of like a very I won't say refined, but it's like that's a type, you know, like and there's a way in which shows like this, you know, funnily enough, get pigeonholed as sort of like the anime watchers anime, when you could just say it's a very good story and it's mature, not in the themes but in like the presentation. Like you could just do that, but like I don't know, I just get that feeling like, oh, it's for elitists, you know, like you'll
Oh,
like this if you're kind of
really?
like an elitist.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
maybe
that's the
I'm
vibe I get.
detached from that. I mean, I see those. Well, here's the thing: I see those videos recommended to me. I never watch them. I just
Right,
see it because I'm just like, bruh, that's too long. I'm not watching that. I'm not. I have games to play. I'm not watching that. I'll listen to a podcast, but I'm not
right,
watching that.
right.
I guess. Well, my thought about it is that because those bigger people are telling people to watch it now, that the fan base would just immediately get toxic because you have people who are actually like people are opportunistic, and I believe this has been coming up a lot in the anime community. So, low key, the black like anime community also like where, and I saw this thing where it had evolved from DreamCon. No, I'm not saying anything bad about DreamCon, anything like that. But a lot, I saw people saying that people went to DreamCon and treated it like a popularity contest as opposed to like a nerd convention. And that made the experience really weird and off-putting for people. And so I feel like with this, it's gonna bring in those people who are not there like popularity contests, but like people who are looking to take advantage of hype to get attention. So if they see like a niche marketplace that isn't really fulfilled, even if they're not really interested in it, they know that it's popular or that it's upcoming. So they are going to do that thing where they assign their personality to it. And like any kind of opinion or like things about that, it's seen as an insult. And then it just, everything gets toxic. Like My Hero Academia community, just like, oh my God, like, fuck. You cannot say anything. You cannot say anything. They will come. Same thing with Naruto. It's like everything that gets huge eventually like just gets those people who are just extremely socially inept and they do
Hmm.
not know how to like compartmentalize like this is for entertainment and people are allowed to critique as opposed and also you should not be assigning your personality and like your sense of worth and self to the success of the brand.
Right.
But I mean, that's kind of what I thought was coming from it. But I haven't really seen that. I have seen a lot of women talk about it, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I have not seen that many men. After you say that, you are so right. I see more women talking about this show than I do men, like by far. But also, it's giving me the same vibes that you guys were, I guess, are getting from Vinland Saga season 2, where people are like, "What is this shit? Like, what is the season 1?
Farming
Da, da,
Saga.
da. Yo, what is Farming Saga? Da, da, da. And I feel like if you go into Freerin, a lot of people won't get past those first 2 episodes because they're gonna be like, "Where's the woo woo wah wah action?" Da 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 da. And it does get there, and it really is good. But the story is just, that is the focus. The story, the growth, the connection among the characters. That is the focus. The fighting is a part of it because ooh, it's part of like the world building. But
Mhm.
yeah,
I
it,
feel
it's
it's
a
a
lot of
show that
work.
just deserves the patience of its audience, but I also don't think that
It might not
it's
be for everybody, just how
yeah,
Mushoku
and I
isn't
was
for
gonna say that,
everybody.
and because it might not be for everybody, I worry about overhyping what it's trying to do.
Mm,
Because again, it's trying to tell a more mature story, mature in the sense of um a story that is
processing
told
death.
based on adult experiences, things that make a lot of sense when you're over the age of 35. Not that that's who it's for, but in the sense of
Yeah.
like if you like that kind of ruminating about hard impossible subjects like death and loss, and what it means to outlive even your own ambitions and those types of things, like yeah, like they're not pulling any punches within the show itself. Now there is violence, and there is very very well choreographed, well drawn, scored and animated
Action scenes.
fantasy
Yeah.
action. So it's there. I don't feel like it's the point
It's
of
not
the
the
show.
center. It's
And
not the
so
center.
it's one of those things where like you showed somebody a clip from even episode 3, they might get the wrong idea about what the fuck this is. And not in the Made in Abyss kind of way where it's like it's it's like also really like gorgeous to look at, but god damn, like I
The
wasn't ready.
descent is quick and
Right.
ooh,
Not quite like that, because I think if you go into that show, you've signed up for the I wasn't ready moment.
you are not a
Frieren
nice
isn't like
person
that.
to do that to people.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So I again, I'm not caught up, so I don't want to say anything definitive about what
Mm,
my experience with the show has been. I really like it. I would not contrast it against Mushoku Tensei in most ways, except that
no.
the production is quite good in both for many of the same reasons. Is it doesn't overuse digital effects, so it goes for a much more
Oh yeah.
hand-drawn feeling, even though obviously all anime today is digital, but the aesthetic of it is very 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 pleasant, and also it feels like a lot of money went into every frame. It
Yes.
feels that, I don't know if that's actually true, that may just be an aesthetic thing, but it feels that way. So if you like your anime adult and well invested in, then this is I think it's just a good series to give a try. But do not go into it either like hyped out of your mind because your favorite YouTuber said it was the greatest thing they've ever seen, nor with like over like too highbrow expectations, because there's still a lot of anime trope stuff that kind of has to
Yeah.
be there in order to make the show work. So, you know, I liked it. I was a big fan. I don't know, you've seen more than me, so what is your sort of verdict halfway through the season?
Oh, I fucking love it. This past week's episode was this past week's episode was an episode of playing the long game. Elven wise, like playing the long game, power system explanation, and a climax that when you think of like your typical shonen climax, it's not a typical shonen climax. It's like a bad bitch climax.
Mm,
Like
okay.
it is a very straightforward climax of just you lost. Like you lost. So yeah, but well, along with that, the lead up to that moment, amazing, 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 just
Awesome.
so good. So yeah, that's freer and fuck, is that everything that I watched? Is
Mhm.
it we're watching a lot this season. Jesus
This is a
Christ.
this is a good this is like a nice solid, like every
Yeah.
couple of
I've
days.
also been hearing that Shield Hero is actually good again, and I'm like, fuck,
I
man.
don't disbelieve that. It's just it's gonna take a lot for me to
I'm just gonna do it all in one Saturday. Just like should just chill. Probably during Christmas or something. I'll just be like, all right, yeah,
mm.
I'm gonna chill over here and watch this shit. Y'all
The
can
thing
fuck.
is, like, I so did not care about season 2 that I don't even really
Yeah.
know how it ended, and I feel like the
Mm.
barrier is I don't want to find out, and I don't want to rewatch it. So
Oh.
so the real question is, if you don't go back and check out what happened in Shield Hero season 2, does it make season
A
3 better
difference.
or
Ooh,
worse? That's the question. Because I
yeah,
know there's gonna be some characters I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, what? Who? What?
yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, there is one more thing I did watch.
What you
Okay.
watch?
That is honestly, and this is a niche community thing. This is on the not BL, but bitch, they are playing in our faces. My new boss is Goofy. When I tell you this
I
shit
got a
right
totally
here,
different thought when you said that. I thought it was your new boss is goofy.
yeah,
Ugh, you're goofy.
yeah,
Like,
no, the nigga is Goofy. He
what?
is. My
Huh?
new boss is Goofy.
No.
Like it's an adult office place like slice of life rom-com, and it is not BL. But when I tell you the BL bait is so masterfully placed in this shit, it's
Uh-huh.
crazy.
Okay,
It's
okay,
crazy.
okay.
Like, so basically the premise is a guy switches companies because he basically worked for a black company, which is like, he was being verbally abused, blah blah. And then there's also another guy who swaps companies who he was being verbally and physically abused at his previous company. And so basically it's about them like learning how to work without being fearful of their bosses again. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic, and it's basic. It's like some of the plot lines are, and they work for an advertising company, so it's about them like going and meeting, discussing things, and basically their bosses being like, you actually are talented. We wouldn't have hired you if you're not talented, but like I'm not gonna hit you. I'm not gonna yell at you. Like you're an adult. Well, I'm an adult. Like I respect you as a person. Like this is not a black company. But in the process of all of that, it's cute shit, just like cute. There's a cat. There's a whole episode around a cat of them finding an abandoned cat that of course is like voiced, and the cat it's a tsundere like cute cat that is just like I don't want you to pet me. Don't pet me. All right, I'll let you pet me. Okay, all right. You're welcome.
I mean, that's real
You're
life.
welcome. Yeah, but it's so cute because the cat got abandoned by a woman who was like never home, and so
Mm-hmm.
she got mad at it one day, and so the cat has also been abused in like mentally, so it's so good. But the BL bait that these bitches do with this shit is so good. Like they like every single episode they have like a conversation in public, and
Mm.
they always pan it to the people on the train that are all blushing and looking at them like, are you niggas confession?
Like, what's going on here, bruh?
And the biggest reveal just happened at the end of this episode this week. All I gotta say is if you're looking for something chill, cute, funny, that actually is like a very harmless BL bait, like it
Mm-hmm.
really is like harmless. Like it's kind of just like this could be taken as a strictly platonic relationship, like absolutely. And there also is like one of the main characters is a bisexual person, and they
Okay.
they they handled it like any other series where the dude was just like, oh yeah, he's like, I had all my ex-girlfriends, my ex-boyfriends, like blah 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 blah, and someone was like, did he say ex-boyfriends? Oh, I can see that, and then they moved on. They didn't basically be like, I don't feel comfortable working with him anymore, and da, 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 or did you know that he was bi? They moved on, which is it should be like that in any series. It's just people be people. So it's really good. I love it. All the people who do watch it love it, but it is extremely niche. I know it's niche, but if you are looking for something slice of life, not stressful at all, it's super adorable and funny. My new boss is Goofy. That's the show. That's the show.
Okay.
That is the show.
I got you. So what I have left was going to sort of be a recommendation, and now it sort of slipped into something different.
Okay.
So as everyone knows, I read a lot of manhwa. I try to stick to my phase, which is all the action stuff. And I've said before that there's not like a big variety, because of
Yeah.
course, what's popular is popular and the
Tropes.
same shit sells over and over again. I have read some of the newer stuff that's dropped in the last month or so that are kind of in that action fantasy category. And with maybe like one or two exceptions, which one day we may talk about, kind of on this platform, if they pan out into something like really good.
Mhm.
I'm just sort of at a fatigue level with the attempts to remix the 3 most popular story settings, because I think we've gotten to a point, much like in
Was it like
light
isekai,
novels,
returners?
trapped in a game, they all fit
Yeah.
under the sort of system um sub banner or overarching banner, which is like, you know, there's some kind of gamified world, there's stats, there's this, the main character or characters plural interact with a menu only they can see, blah 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 blah. And I think what kind of crystallized this for me is I had picked up a series that just recently started called I Killed an Academy Player, which within the first chapter did everything. So again, one of my bigger complaints is that a lot of these stories are so lazy that they just assume you, the reader, know all of the tropes already, and they just say like, okay, it's we're using this trope, we're using that one, and this one. They don't do any world building. They sprinkle that through like the story. So in this case, the main character is trapped in a game. They don't give you any backstory on the character. It's just boom, I'm in the game. You know what this shit is, whatever. Then they do what used to be a hot new innovation, a new wrinkle, is that you're not trapped in the game as a hero, you're trapped in the game as the NPC. So it's like,
Oh,
okay. I was like, all
okay,
right,
yeah,
fine.
that's not.
Then
Yeah, I see that.
then they throw another twist, which is, but now there's actually the real hero of the story is another player who's trapped in a game. And then as the NPC, me and him came together and we were like trying to run this shit. And it was great because I had another person who also wanted to get back home. So I'm like, okay, bet this is a trapped in the game story where maybe like the main hero turns out to be the villain, and then the title says they killed him or they killed the player, so he's gonna kill this guy, and then like all the tag art is like the main character is a savage. So I'm like, okay, bet I'm interested insofar as we get through the premise. Well, it turns out that the true hero, who winds up, spoiler alert, getting killed, was a evil bastard the whole time. And the main character who's playing the NPC does not have the system, does not have anything else. He has to get strong within the confines of the rules of the game world that they're in. But because he was a fanatic for the game, he knew all of the routes to take. And for some reason, all these important named characters all started dying. And it was like, oh, that's kind of fucked up. We're like, we need these characters to get the good ending, and they all go missing. And he doesn't realize as his party starts to fill up, it's all guys in the party. It's all guys. And those guys are really good looking. And it's like, this is weird. I'm in this game.
No.
I want to get to the good ending, but I also want to experience the hot girls. All the hot girls are gone. What's happening? And then in the final hour, before the main fight with the last bad guy, he gets a little curious because there's a character who's absolutely necessary for the final fight who has gone missing, and his partner, who's supposedly the hero, is telling him like, I couldn't find her, don't know what happened. So he followed him one day after he was off doing something weird.
This is all the first chapter.
This is the first chapter. Goes down to an underground. Goes down to an underground basement where he finds all the weapons of all the girls who were supposed to be the party members. And it's weird. And then he gets to the back and finally finds the main girl, and she is being drained of all of her blood in a vial. And the main character's like, wish he hadn't seen this shit, and tells him, basically knocks him out and lets him know that like, bruh, this is just a game. I can do whatever the fuck I want. And what I want is you.
What?
And homie's like, wait, no, you were never like this. You were never like this. What's going on? He's like, you didn't see the signs? Got rid of all the other ladies, got all the other hot guys at the party, but they were just eye candy. You're the only real thing in this world, because obviously he's the only other person who knows about the real world.
Yeah.
We're both trying to get to. Then the kicker was he innocuously had our protagonist drink an elixir that was supposed to make him strong. It's really just the blood of that girl who is locked up in the vial, who's like a vampire. So now he has control over him, so like he can't get away. And so it all kind of comes together with him getting like locked down with magic. He's like, I'm gonna go finish the last boss, and then when I come back, it's you and me, brother.
Wait. So it turned into a BL, a rape fantasy BL
Yes, for the other character,
for
not
the
for
other
the
character. So he's trying
yeah.
to escape getting. Oh my god.
So you'll have some other opinions, I think, in a second. So anyway, that the protagonist actually just dies in the final fight, so that we never get a resolution to what he was
Oh,
going to do to our
okay.
main
What is
boy,
going on?
right? And so as a result of him dying in the final fight, the world ends, which then leads to our main character also dying, and he wakes up 3 years prior, before he met the other guy, but still trapped in the same game. So obviously the first thing he does is like, I gotta kill this nigga before he gets power, because
But then he also has to help him defeat the boss too, doesn't he?
well, that's the problem. So he goes and he intervenes and kills that character first, because his justification is this guy was always a monster, and he's been killing off all of the main female leads to take their shit. And then the game itself readjusts, where it's like, fuck, the main character is dead, but we still have to finish the scenario. So our protagonist gets a few of the main character's powers, but cannot use the system, whatever. So I'm gonna that is the setup, right? And going forward, our main character is going to be super good, where the other guy was super evil. And but what we've done here is that we've basically put all three of the most popular tropes together. But what I disliked was that the motivation for all of this was evil gay panic. I was not a fan of that
That was
being
definitely
right, because
But
the he was
I haven't heard I don't read as many as you, but I don't evil gay panic in the general manhwa. I don't really know if that's a regular thing. Is it?
It's less so. The way I like to think of it is, if you had gone back in manga and looked at the common tropes that you would find in your very typical like action series 20 years ago, you would probably find a lot of gay coded characters that were also villains.
Yeah.
But there was an alternate trope of the gay coded character as a mothering figure, not a villain. In Korean manhwa, unless it's in the BL category, gay people don't really exist. And to the extent they do, it's a lot closer to just the gay coded villain. But you very rarely see sex deployed, like gay sex deployed in and of itself as a threat. You know, there's a lot less of
so interesting because, well, as someone who reads Korean BL manhwa on the regular,
oh, they go further. That's the thing.
Them niggas are menaces.
Yes, like, I know.
Like rape, abuse.
I stumbled into some shit where I was just like, yo, bro, if I'm actually upset that the only thing that was censored was the penis. Because what I seen is like, bro, we can do this? Okay.
They go crazy. They go crazy.
They go wild over there.
So hearing this, I'm kind of just like, wow, is it seeping out into the other things?
Like, well, it stops obviously because this is the setup for the story. It begins and kind of ends with like that instigating event. I will tell you, it is honestly the first time I've ever seen threat of rape by a man towards another man be the reason why me, the reader, is supposed to think that this person has crossed the line. So it's not like this feels like it's especially exploitative and has been like, you know, oh, it's a common problem in the genre. I don't think that that's the case. Okay. Like I just there's another series that I'm reading. I think it's called the evolutionary abilities of a necromancer. It was actually quite good.
That sounds interesting.
Where they had a character that was very much like the dommy mommy gay man as a villain, but that character was fucking cool. Like there was no threat like I'm gonna taste you or anything weird. It was just that visually the way they were coded. And also in what's the really, it's this something like I was reincarnated as a skeleton. It's got like almost 300 chapters. Like it's one of them. one of those really popular ones. There is a villain in that series that is also that exact same archetype, but they are, again, it's just the visual coding. It's not, they don't make explicit threats to rape people. Like, that's not what you're supposed to get out of their character. They're just scarily powerful. So you see that that trope, kind of what Oda was playing with when he, but in the other way, where he kind of like Ivankov and Bon Clay and like the what is the name for it in Japanese, like the Otama whatever, like whatever it is, like Okama, that's what it is, the Okama kind of like concept, which is something in Japan obviously where you have sort of, it's a little bit between trans and cross-dressing, but where you keep some of the masculine features, and that's kind of the point of that subculture, is that they, you know, you're wearing maybe some women's clothing, you're using eyeshadow, but you're also keeping beards, you're keeping, you know,
I know what
masculine.
you're talking about. Yes,
Yeah, like
okay.
that trope, what Oda was playing with by reversing the threat, by making them, you know, good people who are trying to, like, you know, create a space for people to be themselves. The usual way you do it is the other way. It's that the person is like a degenerate, and somehow, like, and that visual look is representing that. So I don't see a lot of that in, to be frank, in action manhwa, Korean, even going back like many years. The threat of male rape is very, very low. You don't see it much. So I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not recommending I Killed an Academy Player. I'm also not saying it's a bad series, but within like one chapter, I kind of got everything that I don't like that is overused in the genre, even though it was deployed in a way that I did not see coming. I absolutely, like, I was starting to think about it where it was like, okay, they keep showing these scenes of all the guys, their party, it's like all dudes. But until the main character noticed it and complained about it, I didn't put anything to it. Like, okay, maybe the real MC is gay. That's cool. Okay, I wonder how he gets good. Nope, this dude was like, I'm full on about to, I love you. I'm full on about to take what I want. I
Oh
don't
my
care what you
God.
do. Like, when that happened, I was like, naughty. So I'm ready for a new
Okay.
trope, though. I'm ready for something to blow up, some series to get hot that's just doing something different than the returner trapped in a game. I'm the NPC. I have a system. Like, I'm good with all that. Like, there's probably years ahead of us of this shit being everywhere, but like, give me more
Yeah.
Barbarian Quest. Please give me more Barbarian Quest. Give me more. Let's see, what are some things I've read recently that are kind of out of scope for that. Like, I think Player, ironically, is not a system manhwa. It's not. There's no the stat
Oh,
stuff.
how many chapters does player have? I stopped on like 130 something. Where are
There've
they
been,
at?
maybe it's in the 140s or close to 150. No, it's in the
Mm.
150s.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I thought it should be. Yeah,
there's
okay.
there, but there's some good ones, like Revenge of the Iron-Blooded Swordhound is really cool. It's got about like 40 or 50 chapters. I don't know if I really talked about that one on the show before, but I like it. And again, it's doing something a little bit different. There's some, I've gotten more into like Muram stuff, so I could maybe recommend like a couple of those series where it's very like martial arts, kung fu, wuxia, swordplay, type of thing. There's another one, so there's Barbarian Quest, and then there's another Barbarian manhwa that is like the opposite of that. But there's series that are basically just doing different stuff, and I would just say, let's have more uplifting of that. I will say, despite everything I just gave you, Triple S class Suicide Hunter is fucking fantastic right now,
Oh, I
because
started that. Wait, no, did I start that one? There was
they're
S class
doing
hero or something.
a whole arc where they're in a villainess game or villainess book, where the main character went in with another character who is they're both male, but the character he went in with got transformed into a female character in the story, and they have to beat. It's not a situation where they can like win through combat or win through anything else. They have to beat it by finding the good ending in a book that ended badly. And it's like, it is great, because like it's all psychological. It's all about like both characters' abilities to actually play off each other and take each other's cues, because our main protagonist is the butler, and the character he went in with is a psychopathic priest who in the real world looks like a twink looking, whatever, but he's like one of the most powerful characters in that world, but he's also just a psychopath. So like if left to his own devices, he will murder everybody. And so the main character has to like both curb their killer instincts, and also get everyone to play by the rules of this world where they have 3 days to stop another character in the story from going batshit insane and triggering like the end of the world in that book. It's a total departure from like everything that they've been doing in that series, and I've been loving every bit of it because it's so different. It's like you probably already read a lot of like villainess stories, and so it's like cribbing notes from I think the good ones to come up with like a good scenario here. So like more, I just want like creativity, I guess is what I'm saying. Like I'm done.
Take risks. Stop doing the other
shit.
Right.
I think I was it Knife and Fork, or Fork and Knife. Sorry, I said Knife and Fork. Fork and Knife. I talked about a couple episodes ago. Again, just do something different. If you're gonna do fantasy, make a complete fantasy world and live in that. I don't need the reincarnator. I don't need this is trapped in a book. I don't need the system. I don't need like if your ideas are good enough, you don't need that extra shit to get people to read it. That's my opinion. So yeah.
That's your opinion. Oh boy.
So no recommendations there, just kind of complaining about what the fuck was going on in chapter 1 of
That's a crazy chapter 1.
Bruh, they were doing the most
fucking insane.
They were doing the absolute the shot where this dude is like, I'm gonna make you mine. I'm like, oh no, I didn't know we were going here.
Okay. That actually makes me want to go check it out, but I think
the first chapter is worth reading. It looks good. It's not
just
like
for the insanity.
There's just for the insanity and like the fight when the moment of realization is so hilarious to me. I don't know why I thought it was so funny, but it's like he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
Yeah, there are. I've been taking a break from my BL manhwas because reading them weekly, I don't know. I just get frustrated, so I have to give myself like a 2-month break, and then I'm just like, all right, let's get some like stacked up, so that way we can like move through this better. And I'll be like,
that's good.
Okay,
no, that's real good.
This is good. This is good. Like
I'm trying to think of the last thing I binged that was like actually really good, because I kind of do want to like at least give some kind of a recommendation, but a lot of the stuff I've been reading hasn't been out long enough for there to really be you know what I mean, like a lot built up yet. And I don't know, I just wish that there was like less derivative stuff and more original sort of work. So maybe Fork and Knife. I'll just say like throw it out there again, like Fork and Knife, really cool, and you could get through what's available. I think it's maybe like 25-30 chapters out of there, but like it's actually cool. Like it's a fun one to read, and you could catch up to it real quick. What's that? Well, I know one that's getting attention is like the Priest of Corruption.
What is that about?
That one, it's like it's just a straight up fantasy, but it mixes a lot of modern concepts. Like it's a world where there are demons and devil worshippers and magic, but there's also like cyborgs and like chain blades and all kinds of stuff. The general plot is that the main character is a priest who pretends to be, well, he's a priest, but he's a priest of an evil god. But it's an evil god that has no more followers. It's just he's the only follower left of this evil god. And he, at the very beginning, it's clear that he had been betrayed and almost murdered. And so the rest of the story is kind of about him going across the world that they're in and retrieving evil relics that he absorbs to reincarnate his god. And in the process of doing so, he is pretending to be a priest of the god of light.
Yeah.
But he'll be found out immediately if he runs into other actual priests of that god. So it's a little bit cat and mouse. There's like ultra over the top violence, like DBZ level shit. There's a lot of intrigue because not all demons are evil and not all, good god
Oh.
worshippers are good. There's a lot of hidden ancient technology in dungeons that's very like modern. So like he goes down into one of them and gets like an adamantium chain blade, like some Warhammer 40K
Ooh.
shit. And it's and the art style is actually quite good. Like unique looking, but still in line with if you liked, solo leveling and all that stuff, like you'll
Ooh.
recognize
Yeah,
the art
speaking of that, isn't
designs,
that
and
next
they use a
season?
lot of
Is that
yeah, they
next
use a
season?
lot of say again.
Is solo leveling next season, the
Solo
anime?
leveling supposedly is next season. We'll see if it makes the
Oh.
deadline. But at this point, they've already done the rollout for
They did the trailer and
they've had
everything.
3 trailers. They've got like the opening theme, which is great. That opening theme sounds real good. We only have like 30 seconds of it, but that shit sounds like a go hit. Um,
I don't
but
even think
yeah,
I remember.
I think Priest of Corruption and Evolutionary Traits of a Necromancer are the two like 35, 40 plus episode manhwa that are been out in the last year that I
Mm-hmm.
think I really specifically enjoy. And neither one of them are like system reincarnator type stories. They're just kind of more straightforwardly either like fantasy or just something. Just be creative. Be creative. It's okay.
Yeah.
You won't be punished. Nobody's not going to read your shit because it's not the 80,000th. I'm actually like a shut-in neat who was
Well,
betrayed
maybe
in
it's
real
more so
life.
because the companies won't pick it up because it's not that stuff.
Well,
They're
that's literally
like,
true. Yeah,
yeah,
that's totally it. I mean, these are all I think adapted Korean light novels. I think for the most part. I don't know, man. I don't know. We need new stuff.
yeah. I guess for me, recommendation wise, I watched the first, well, the only series part of Princess Principal, and first of all, the opening for it is just phenomenal. Just like that, like jazz rock, like it gives you the same vibe that Persona gives you, but just a little bit more grungy. Amazing opening, blah blah blah. At first, I didn't really know what to think of the show. I thought it was going to be like individual things, but um and this is just going to be quick and dirty. I recommend it. I think you should watch it. If you're just looking for something that is dark. It does highlights character development very well, and also like political intrigue. And I also did not know that it's still ongoing. So they, as opposed to a new season, they got approved for 6 movies.
Oh, damn.
And so 3 of the movies are out right now. It's called Crown Handler because the setting for it is that a European nation discovered an ore that gives levitating power. So they were the first nation to develop war airships. And so they became an empire. And then there was a civil war in the empire. And so the goal, well, not the goal, but the perceived mission is that the main characters are all spies from the newly made nation trying to infiltrate the original nation and
Mm-hmm.
replace one of the princesses. And so basically they'll have like a direct line to the royal family. All I'm gonna say is it does not go the way they thought it was, and the reveals are actually pretty decent for based off of who the princess is, who the main character is, and where everyone else came from. Like it's actually really good. And then also it's a Japanese series, so the Japanese come in also as like a neutral party, trying to determine which country from the split they want to ally with. And so I like it. Interesting. The episodes are kind of like focused on like little plots, but there is an overarching thing that occurs by the end of the season. And then I only hear like really, really, really good things about the movies, but I think each of the movies is like an hour and a half. So I did not
Mm-hmm.
hop into them immediately. But I hear the movies are getting real fucking crazy, especially with like the political intrigue part of it. So um Princess Principal. I yeah, I've always had my eye on it, but one day I was just like, I'm just gonna watch this shit. Like, I'm just gonna chill and watch it, and it was really good. I enjoyed it. So, definitely not for everybody though. I can definitely see
Yeah,
that.
your experience sounds like how I dealt with like Birdie the Mighty. because I
Mm,
heard about it for years. Like it's like 10 years plus old at
yeah.
this point. I think it was like 2014 that it came out.
Yeah.
2015. I don't know, but it's been many years. Pre-pandemic. You can like mark everything like post-pandemic,
Yeah.
pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then I wound up watching it. I was like, bro, this shit is amazing. Like I don't know how I knew about Tetsu on Birdie before, like because
Yeah.
yeah, and it was like a classic I never actually watched. Then I saw Birdie the Mighty. I was like, bro, this shit is awesome. So it's also like that and Dirty Pair. Like Dirty Pair, all the different incarnations of it took me a long time to get to them. But then
Mm-hmm.
after I watched, I was like, yo, these are some bad bitches, man. Like like classic heroines, like just really cool, funny. So yeah, that's what's up. I should
Yeah.
give Princess Principal a shot.
Yeah. It's pretty decent. But yeah, that's all I got. I don't have any news. There's too much news, so I ain't got no news.
Yeah, I don't have any news either, or at least not anime news. I just have my just some black shit like why are we letting Lauren Hill make excuses?
What is going on? What?
Because she had to put some shit up like y'all don't know how difficult it is to the management and this and that. And like some people like, yeah, now Lauren, she's gonna show up on time to her shows. I'm like, we're the enablers here. Okay. We're talking to black people, okay?
Oh my
We're the
God.
ones.
If you
It's
buy the tickets,
exactly.
if you buy the tickets, you are at fault.
Yes.
There's literally
Yes.
years of history of
Yes.
her either showing up late and doing what, 3 songs
Yep.
or not showing up at all. It's your fault. It's your fault. What did she do now?
She literally said, y'all should be lucky if I show up at all, given all the stuff that she says she's dealing with. I'm like, girl, if you're not going to
Then
show
why
up,
are
do
tickets on
not.
sale?
Exactly. That was exactly what I was going to say. Exactly. Why are you putting the tickets on sale if you're not even sure you're going to show up?
Because they're gonna buy them. They're gonna buy them. They're gonna buy them. That is beyond
That
me.
is so wild that you would even say that. And then so she was in front of a crowd and then said the same thing and they fucking cheered. I was like, the fuck? This person just told
this is like the Keith Lee in Atlanta shit, where like the Atlanta niggas love their bad service and food, and they're mad.
Exactly.
So these people are just like, it doesn't matter if she treats us like shit. We love her.
Right. Tell you to your face that you're lucky she's even here. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm so done. She agreed to play that concert. No, we ain't lucky. That's your contract.
Get her. Get the money. Get her money. Well, I'm pretty sure the venue or whatever is getting their money from her.
What? Yeah,
and that's why she keeps performing. She's probably in a spiral where she was supposed to perform. She didn't perform. She broke her contract. She now owes the venue, and now she booked another performance to pay for that previous one. But then she didn't show up to that shit either.
This shit is nuts. And I think because when they did that like 50th year of hip hop.
Those are really bad.
And so I know, but she did show up on time for her set then. Okay, so the check cleared. So people were like, oh, okay, maybe this got her right. And now she's out here telling people they lucky they even showed up. I'm finished. I'm finished. And also
good on you for still having faith.
People going back and looking at her one album and realizing that, like, oh, well, goddamn, like that's all she had anyway. Like,
that's all it always has been.
Yes.
And Sister Act.
Most overrated shit, man.
That's all she has had. I mean, I'm not saying it's bad.
No, it is a legendary album. Like,
just,
I'm not arguing there, but like the more you find out about her and who she was working with and what the production process was like, and that she ain't done shit ever again. And it's not like some people like my wife would tell me about like some R&B girl, I don't even remember, but like she listed a bunch of songs like, oh, she did that. It's like, yeah, she hasn't been able to release an album in 20 years because of the label. And I'm like, okay, I buy that. It's outside.
Is it JoJo?
There we go. That's who it was. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they fucked that girl over bad.
But you see what I mean? Yeah. Like that's somebody else's fault.
Yes.
That you could point to that.
When she signed that contract, she was a minor. So like she
right. So that's somebody else's fault. Was it Eve now re-recording her shit or whoever doing all these re-recordings to get out, like after Taylor Swift did her bit to get out of the label ownership?
Oh, is Eve? Well, you know what? Eve can do whatever the fuck she wants because she got that billionaire fucking husband.
She living.
She doing whatever she
wants. Is it Khalees? Like they both just
Khalees?
decided to. Isn't
Oh
Khalees like living on a
yeah.
farm with like some white guy?
Oh yeah, I think she is. Yeah, but she's in like whatever
But she went to
because
culinary art school like
she
after
did.
like
Her chef stuff is really popular.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then
So
she
like
had that drama with
these people just
Beyonce.
went off and they did their own thing, and they could come back, or if they want to come back and do something, that's cool. I'm just saying I'm out of excuses. Like I was out of excuses for Lauryn Hill a long time ago, but she also wasn't talking. You know, like you know what I mean? Like that's not saying nothing.
But that's the thing, though. You said it correctly. They showed her what she can do. They are enabling her.
Yes.
So she got bold. She was just like, "You niggas been enabling me for 20 plus
To
years."
their faces at a concert on camera. I'm good. I'm good with you, girl. I'm good. I'm not supposed to speak on like black women stuff. I get it. It's totally not my bad. But
It'd be
I'm
one
done.
thing if it were like black women rights, how it pertained to the industry, like how she moves through the industry. So that this is literally her providing a service, charging for a service that she is not providing. It's really cut and dry.
Fan. I was a fan. Like if you asked me 10 years ago, oh, it was a Lauryn Hill concert, I'm like, I'd give it a shot. Even though even then we knew better because she's been doing this shit forever. Forever. I'm good. I'm good. Well, if I never hear again, I'll be better off. Go to YouTube. Go on YouTube. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to the music, but I don't care about seeing her live just because the track history. It doesn't. It's matter. Really bad. But damn. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is all for this week, y'all. Follow us anime_savants on Twitter. And then you can follow us Anime Savants on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Yep, you can hit me up on Twitter anytime at Neural Handshake. Shout out to the person who sent me, and I don't have your name up in front of me. You sent me the that spread for God of High School. That shit was sick. I will remember next time on next show, and I will give you your proper shout outs. But pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. We will see y'all next time. Bye.
Peace out.